Hey, what is up guys, TechSnackles here, and this is the Nexus 6P. I've been using it for around 2 weeks now, and here's why I love this phone. So starting with design, this phone not only looks good, but also feels great. Its chamfered edges and flat sides make it easy to hold, especially coming from an iPhone 6 Plus, and its aluminium construction just feels great in the hand, and like it's built to last. In fact, the 6P for me is the best built Nexus device ever, at least as of right now. The one I've got here is the aluminium, but it also comes in two other colors, graphite and frost, both of which look awesome and have the same texture, therefore same feel in the hand. We've also got the typical Nexus branding on the back, alongside Huawei, who were Google's choice this year to make this device, and hopefully Google stick with them and create more magic like this. Perhaps the main noticeable design choice that I know many of you have been worried about is that bulge at the top back of the phone, but it really doesn't protrude as much as it seems on video, and it adds a different look to the phone, making it noticeably different to other phones, which in my opinion is a plus. Now on the back you'll also notice that little dimple. That's the Nexus imprint, and it's fast. It allows you to unlock your phone simply by placing your finger on it. There's no clicking, just a gentle tap, and it quickly unlocks your phone. Now because we've grown so accustomed to having these placed on the front of phones, the placement of this fingerprint sensor on the back seems strange at first, but once you get to use it, you'll notice just how natural it is to place your finger on that position. And I've grown to prefer the sensor on the back rather than on the front. My only problem is that because it only requires a tap, accidental unlocks while putting the phone in my pocket have been an issue. And also, cases for this phone just look odd. But besides that, the Nexus imprint is one of my favorite things about this phone. Power buttons and volume controls are also well placed. They work fine, but I kind of wish they were a bit more tactile. On the front you've got a 5.7-inch Quad HD AMOLED display. It's obviously sharp at 518 pixels per inch. It's got good color accuracy and decent viewing angles, and for an AMOLED display, it's pretty impressive when you set it to low brightness. It's not the brightest display out there, but you won't be disappointed. You've also got a notification light on the top left. And the cream on top here are the stereo speakers. They are loud and awesome. They plus the Quad HD display make playing games, watching videos, and listening to music just awesome on the 6P. And with the specs here, you should be doing this comfortably. The 6P is powered by a 2 GHz octa-core Snapdragon 810 CPU and the Adreno 430 GPU. It's also got 3 GB of RAM, so it should handle everything fine, and in my experience, it has. Everything has been smooth, quick, and responsive. Everything works like it should. In terms of storage, the one I've got here is the 32 GB model, but there are also 64 and 128 GB models. But do watch out for available storage, as for my 32 GB model, you only actually get 25 GB of storage, and there's no expandable storage here. Also, for those of you worried about the Snapdragon processor overheating, although the 6P does tend to sometimes get hot over extensive use, it didn't get to a point where it was uncomfortable to use it. Now with these specs here, you should really be future-proof for Android updates to come, and that's really the selling point of any Nexus device, the pure stock Android experience and constant updates. With Marshmallow, you're getting slight UI changes and improvements, more privacy settings, and under the hood improvements, which we'll talk about in a second. But the big new feature is now on tap. Now this basically reads what's on your screen and displays information cards that Google thinks are useful to you in that situation. So let's say you're looking for restaurants on TripAdvisor. You simply hold the home button and you get all these cards that allow you to do multiple actions like calling the restaurant or getting directions there, and in some cases it even displays their rating. Now this can be really convenient when you need to get information and don't have time to look for it, but right now, being just released, it is kind of slow and inconsistent. In my case, I really haven't used it that much, but I think that for some people, it is a neat, convenient feature to have. Now on to those under the hood improvements, the best one is those. It basically makes use of all of the sensors to detect whether or not you're actually using your phone, so that it can crack down on background activity or any apps that you don't use much. So this means that when you are not using your phone, it doesn't refresh information as much, which results in a better standby time. Now the 6P doesn't have a small battery. It's got a 3450 milliamp battery, and with this standby time improvement, it'll easily go unused for days. But of course, you want to use your phone, and you will be using your phone, so you can expect to get through a full day without a problem. Of course, with all these high-end specs, it does consume quite a significant amount of battery when being used. Games and shooting video tend to drain the battery quite quickly and significantly, but with normal everyday use, I've still managed to get through a full day with around 6 hours of screen on time. And even if you don't, the 6P supports fast charging, which means that from a few minutes, you get hours of use. Unfortunately though, the 6P doesn't have wireless charging and is charged via USB-C, which I just find and inconvenient. Now, many may argue that it is the future, but right now it's just an annoyance when you have multiple micro USB chargers lying around. At least the 6P does come with a USB-A to USB-C cable in the box. And in the bright side, as it is the future, you are again future-proof here. Now last but not least, let's talk about these cameras. So Google had a lot to say about them, and I do as well. Now for years, my main problem with pure Android devices has been the camera. The image processing just honestly hasn't been very good. And it's not the sensor's fault, it's mainly on the software side. With my Nexus 5, I just couldn't depend on it to take a good or even decent photo whenever I just wanted to quickly grab a shot. But I'm happy to say that with the 6P, that hasn't been the case. Now it's still not perfect, but it's miles better than the experience I had with the Nexus 5. It's pretty obvious here that Google's done some work with the stock camera software, and it also helps to have a great sensor. The 6P has a 12.3 megapixel Sony sensor with f2.0 aperture, and from the photos I've taken, I can easily call this the best camera ever in a Nexus. There's a bunch of detail thanks to that 12 megapixel sensor, and with laser assisted autofocus, it's pretty quick to focus. I just wish optical image stabilization was included here. So you can launch the camera by double clicking the power button, and most photos look good. But something that I've noticed alongside a lot of other reviewers is that it tends to overexpose a lot with highlights being blown out. So I would definitely recommend using HDR Plus most of the time. It tends to be slow, but shots usually come out way better. However, it doesn't always fix the problem. For example, here with this shot without HDR Plus, you can see that it's overexposed. Highlights are gone. And with HDR Plus, the highlights are back, but it's underexposed and you lose all the detail in the statue. The image processing also tends to be inconsistent. Sometimes it oversaturates some shots or oversharpens. And another downside is that there are no manual controls with the stock camera app. So if you want to have more control over your shots, you'll end up having to get it from a third-party app. Using this camera at night isn't the best, but it still manages to take decent shots for something without OIS. Again, I recommend using HDR Plus as it helps remove most of the noise and grain from the photo, and they end up looking pretty good and impressive for something without OIS. So thumbs up for Google for taking a step in the right direction and improving the camera software. Oh, and filming video is also good with this camera. You get 4K at 30 frames per second, and the footage looks good and natural. And if you're a selfie kind of person, you'll be glad to know that you're covered by an a good 8 megapixel front-facing camera that also records at full HD. So those are the cameras, and I'm happy to finally be able to have a Nexus that I can depend on to take a good photo whenever I want to. So the design, screen, speakers, fingerprint reader, and the much improved camera are the reasons why I've loved using this phone, not to mention stock Android. It's really the first Nexus that feels like the whole package, and I feel like Google is really making a statement with this phone and is moving in the right direction. So who's this phone for? Really anyone. If you're just getting started on Android, if it's your first Android phone, or if you're an Android enthusiast, this is the phone for you. In my opinion, this is the best premium pure Android phone you can get, and you'll be first in line for updates. If you don't need the premium experience and premium feel of the Nexus 6P, then you can go with the more affordable Nexus 5X. But if you do decide to get the 6P, I don't think you'll regret it. So that's it. If you guys have any questions, be sure to leave them down in the comment section below. If you want sneak peeks at future videos, be sure to follow me on Twitter at TechSnackles. And if you enjoyed this video, which hopefully you did, be sure to leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe for more like these. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching, guys. And I'll see you all in the next one.